After viewers had the Skibidi Toilet series taken from them, we didn't sit idle. We fought and clung to every hope, whether it was the start of the hashtag Bring Boom Back movement, the letter from 57 YouTubers, the petition on change.org, Alexi's failed interview with Steven, hope with Valve Studio acquiring the rights, or the hashtag Let Boom Speak movement. We tried, did everything in our power, and now, 9 months after these events, we have a new hope. Hope that all the illegal actions will be resolved at a different, more serious level. Also today, we'll answer the most relevant question. Can all this really lead to Alexei's return? Hit like and subscribe to the channel, and if you've already done so, let's begin. Recently, YouTube lawyer Law by Mike took on the case. He deals with exposés on the internet and has an audience of more than 30 million. Some know him from his exposés of Lego and Roblox. So, it all started with this comment under his video. Seeing this comment, he responded to it. A bit later, he made a post where he wrote that he's ready to start an investigation into the Skibidi Toilet case, but on the condition that his latest video gets 1 million views. He also made a poll where more than 170,000 people supported the idea of starting an investigation into this case. Already after 12 hours, his condition was even exceeded, and later he noticed Iron Cameraman's comment and contacted him to get detailed information. I can assume that Mike is already familiar with the situation and even started creating a video. Here's what he wrote about this. We hit 1 million views. I never thought I'd be doing a video on Skibidi Toilet, but the story is very interesting here. I need some time to get all the details and film. There will be a few videos coming out before I post, but please know I'm working on this. Having analyzed his channel, I understood that he uploads new videos approximately once every 1.5 to 2 weeks. That is, possibly already at the end of June, we'll see a full expose of the company and even the beginning of legal proceedings. As I already listed all our hopes and attempts over the past 9 months, I want to remind you that for now, we have 2 serious trump cards in our pocket. I mean the acquisition of copyright by A24 Studio, as well as the investigation of the case by Michael. So, we have 2 trump cards. And today I want to analyze not what we already know about them, but what will happen if each of them really plays out. Let's model both scenarios to the very end and see what they can lead to. Let's start with the A24 scenario. Let's say the studio really got interested and made contact. What happens next? The first thing they'll face is negotiations, not with Alexei, but with Adam Goodman. And here begins the interesting part. A24 isn't a small indie outfit that can be intimidated or pushed around. This is a studio with an army of its own lawyers and experience in the most complex deals. For Adam, this will be a completely different level of opponent. If before he pressured teenagers with fan channels, now people who know the industry inside and out will sit across from him. And here's the key moment. A deal to buy a franchise isn't just transferring a logo. This is due diligence. That is, a thorough check of all assets before purchase. A 2-4 will study everything: contracts, rights, financial history, legal risks. And if during this check those very questionable company actions everyone is talking about surface, this can either lower the price or scare off the buyer altogether. That is, even the very fact of negotiations will force the company to reveal what it so diligently hides. But let's say the deal still went through. What does this mean for the series? It means a complete reboot. A24 is known for not interfering in the author's creative process. They would give Alexei what he didn't have even before the conflict, namely real resources with complete creative freedom. Imagine Skibidi Toilet with a big studio budget, but without corporate pressure. This could bring the series to a level we can't even imagine now. Full-length episodes, a professional team under Alexei's leadership, merch that's made with respect for the universe, not carelessly, and so on. There's also a downside that should be honestly mentioned. Even in an ideal scenario, the transition to a new studio will take time. This isn't done in a week. Legal formalization, asset transfer, production restart, all this is months of work. So even if A24 says yes tomorrow, we won't see real new content soon. But it's important to understand that this is still incomparably better than the current situation in which the series is simply slowly dying. Now, let's move to the second trump card and model the scenario with Mike. Here, everything works differently. A 2-4 is about saving the series' future, and Mike is about justice and consequences for those who arranged all this. What will happen if Mike releases an expose? The first and most obvious is explosive growth of awareness. His audience will learn about the situation, and for them it will be a fresh, shocking story. But it's not just about views. The point is that analysis from a practicing lawyer translates the entire situation from the plane of fan drama into the plane of real legal questions. It's one thing when viewers are outraged in the comments. It's another thing when a lawyer publicly explains which exact laws may have been violated. And here begins the most important thing. A public legal expose can trigger a chain reaction. When a person of such caliber pays attention to a situation, other lawyers begin to look at it too. The possibility of class action lawsuits appears, especially if injured creators really figure in the case, including minors. Let's think about what specific consequences may await the company. If it turns out that contracts with minors were signed with violations, such agreements can be declared invalid in court. If they prove that the NDA was used not to protect information but for suppression, this can also be challenged. If the publication of personal correspondence violated privacy laws, this is grounds for a lawsuit. Each of these points individually is already a problem, and altogether they add up to a picture that can destroy the company. And here's the key question many ask. Can all this really lead to Alexei's return? The expose directly won't return the rights to him. This needs to be understood. But it can create such pressure under which the company won't have a choice. Imagine, reputation destroyed, lawyers from all sides, investors in panic, audience gone. In such a situation, the only reasonable way out becomes either selling the franchise or an agreement with Alexei. And here, our two trump cards connect. You see how this works together? Mike creates pressure and legal problems. A 2-4 offers a way out of these problems in the form of a purchase. The company, squeezed between these two forces, finds itself in a situation where selling the franchise becomes not just profitable, but literally the only way to avoid catastrophe. Individually, each trump card is a chance. Together, they're a strategy. But I want you to understand the risks too, because blind optimism is dangerous here. Adam has already proven more than once that he acts against his own benefit. A person who's been warring with the audience for 9 months is capable of digging in here out of principle too. He may refuse to sell to A24 even under pressure. He may try to drag out any legal processes for years. Rich companies know how to use courts as a weapon of attrition, hoping that the opposing side will run out of strength and money. That's why it's so important that both processes go in parallel and feed each other. If Mike creates enough noise, A24 will see that the franchise is toxic for the current owner and will understand it can buy it cheaper. And if A24 shows interest, this will show everyone that Skibidi Toilet has a future and will give strength to the movement around the expose. This is a closed circle that works in our favor. And here's what I want to convey to everyone watching this. We've come to a moment when we need to move from passive support to active actions. Before, we could only post hashtags and hope. Now we have specific points to apply efforts. We can attract A24's attention to the franchise. We can support Mike by showing the scale of demand for an expose. We can spread information about the Let Boom Speak site so that anyone who wants to understand immediately gets the full picture. For 9 months, we knocked on closed doors, and now for the first time, 2 of them at once have begun to open. This isn't a guarantee of Vortorg, but this is the best scenario we've had this whole time. And it would be a huge shame if we missed this chance simply because we got tired or stopped believing. Therefore, let's gather once more. Support both directions. Tell friends, leave comments, share this video. The more of us there are, the stronger the pressure and the higher the chance that justice will finally prevail. I want to add one more important thought about why exactly now such a fortunate moment has come together. It's about timing. These 2 trump cards appeared almost simultaneously, and this isn't a coincidence. When a story drags on for 9 months, it accumulates critical mass. More and more people are aware. More and more evidence is collected. The discontent is louder and louder. And at some point, this accumulated energy begins to attract serious players. In other words, we ourselves created the conditions under which these trump cards became possible. Every comment over these 9 months, every repost, every signature under the petition added up to the foundation on which both our hopes are now built. Without this long work, no one would ever have paid attention to our situation. And this is probably the main lesson of the whole story. The corporation counted on us getting tired and forgetting that the hype would die down and they would calmly continue doing whatever they want with the franchise. But they miscalculated. We didn't forget, and it was exactly our persistence that turned a local conflict into a story that now both a major film studio may be looking at and a well-known lawyer is already looking at. This has been Super Cameraman. See you very soon. Goodbye, everyone.